Okay, everybody, welcome to the Top 5 Podcast. I think we're going to have to sing a song. I don't know why I did that because I start the show the same way every time.
Yes.
And yet it's not ever the same show every time.
Never. It's never the same show.
It's never the same show. But it is often with the same co-host. And that would be Annie Pruitt.
Hello, my lovely sister.
Hello, my darling. How are you on this fine podcasting day?
I am absolutely lovely. Absolutely lovely. I'm so happy to see your gorgeous face.
I'm happy to see your gorgeous face and hear your gorgeous voice. And we tonight are going to be discussing sad things, but sad things that lift us up. So
That I enjoy.
Yes. Wait, say that again.
They absolutely bring us joy.
They absolutely bring us joy, and they are happy tears, and they are happy tears that allow us to re-experience that feeling over and over and over again. In other words, these are movies that are tearjerkers that Annie and I both feel that we could watch again and again and again because in some way, shape, or form, they lift us up.
Absolutely.
And there you have it. So,
wholeheartedly, yes.
Because, sometimes you just got to cry. You got to get that shit out and have the catharsis. And sometimes you know that you're going to cry just because the feeling is so powerful, yet not soul sucking.
Absolutely. Yes.
There is hope. There's like that just overwhelming sense of emotion that just like takes control of you. And well, you know what I'm talking about.
I absolutely. Yep.
All right. Annie Pruitt, do you want to go first?
I will go first. Yes. Okay. So my number 5 tearjerker that feeds my soul. And the theme for this one is true love.
Ooh.
So it's from 1994 Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
Oh, and it's kind of one of the Pruitt House laws. If Forrest Gump is on the television, it has to stay on.
Yes.
And there's actually quite a few moments that get me crying. The first one that really gets the tears going is when Forrest is in DC and he's giving his speech that gets muted because the anti-war person pulls the plug. And they plug it back in. He says, and that's all I have to say about that. And you hear Jenny yell out Forrest. And his scream, Jenny, just like I start bawling like a baby. And I can watch that scene over and over and over again. And then thing like subsequently that follows is like every tear-jerking moment I can watch over and over again because I can relate to it from just an absolute true love. Because of Forrest's love for Jenny, Forrest's love for his son, and Jenny's love for her son, but also his love for Lieutenant Dan and his love for Bubba and his love for his mother. So that's just like a true love across the board. Forrest Gump's capacity for love is the greatest I've seen ever in a film.
That is really beautiful, Annie. And I can think of some of the same moments that you were describing. The DC one is one of them, but just as he starts to raise his son, who is Haley Joel Osment, and like, how did that happen? That's so crazy. But when Jenny comes back to him and they have the child together, I think, especially knowing that she's going to die, like that is semi gut wrenching, but the fact that she knew that was going to be a place for her to be safe. She knew that was going to be a place where she'd be taken care of. And she knew that was a person that she could be with. So the only struggle
is foreshadowed from the beginning. So it's like, it didn't come out of nowhere. It wasn't a shock that her passing,
Yeah.
It wasn't like, how could you do this to me? How did you kill that off? It was one of those, because you saw it from the very beginning of her introduction of the turmoil in her life,
Sure.
So but the fact that she did pass away in a moment of true love, and the time when she was feeling true love from every person that was in her life.
Yeah.
Is beautiful. Yeah. Sorry.
Well, amen to that. That's a good one. Yay. Yeah. Well, my number 5 is from 2003. This is a quintessential holiday movie, and this is called Love Actually. And I have a couple scenes that really bring it for me. The first one, and it is the first scene I'm talking about is a sad scene, because it is the point in the movie where Emma Thompson gets a present from her husband, and she is expecting that it's going to be a necklace or a bracelet, some form of jewelry, and it's not. It is a Joni Mitchell CD, and she pulls herself from the celebration and goes to her room and has a good cry, a really hard cry that is semi gut wrenching. But I think everything in that scenario turns out to be okay at some point. And I think for me, it's really like, I thought Emma Thompson should have gotten an Academy Award nomination for that one scene, because it just sits with you. The anticipation of thinking that something's coming that's not coming. And then, it has nothing to do with the gift. It has to do with everything else that's going on that's connected to the gift. Yeah, and there's that
other gift out there. That's right. She knows that there's a gift out there that was not for her.
Yeah. And that's a stinker. And then so we talked about this kiss, I think, in a previous episode. So there's the kiss between Keira Knightley and the best friend outside of the house after the wedding.
Yeah.
And so that is a happy cry for me. But I think for the two, the things that are the most happiest crying for me is Colin Firth with the Portuguese woman and him trying to say, tell her that he's in love with her and flubbing it up in a million different ways. That is just so, because it's Colin Firth. Like, is there any more perfect British gentleman on this planet than Colin Firth? And for him to stumble through this, expression of love, it's just crazy. But the sweet little boy, the blonde little boy who's playing the drums at the Christmas party with the girl he has the crush on, is singing to him, and she's leaving and going to the airport, and he's going to chase her down. And Liam Neeson is like, "Come on, kid, go!" And he slides under security and he chases her down, and they have their cute little kiss. I mean, that is just the laughing, happy tears. It's so adorable. It's so precious. And then I think this kid grew up to be like in Game of Thrones and on the on that Sex Pistols miniseries on Hulu. Anyway, I love when characters, especially as kids, like as they're growing up in their career and they're finding themselves into these different types of roles. But that little boy in that movie, just, he steals your heart, and you're more than willing, you're completely happy to let him take it, because it's just so refreshing and adorable. Yeah. So anyway, that's my number 5.
I totally get that. And there are so many good kisses in that movie. It's almost like when we did our best movie kiss. We can't use Love Actually, because it actually has 5 great kisses in it. Yeah.
So true. Yeah, that's a great holiday movie. That is probably in my top 5 holiday movies of all time that we maybe have to talk about doing that show. Okay.
We might have, but you just totally spoiler alert.
Yeah, I did. Spoiler alert. Okay, we'll have to bleep that out. Bleep. Okay.
All right. So my number was the first time that I cried in a movie theater. So my number 5 was about true love. My number 4 is about true friendship, and it is the movie E.T. How can you not cry like a baby over the true friendship between Elliot and E.T., this beautiful being that it is absolutely 100% true friendship. And what's so funny is I swear, please, dear God, Go to YouTube and look at Henry Thomas's audition. Crying watching his audition, and at the end of it, it's like, all right, kid, you got the part. Because it was completely ad-libbed. He was so good, but just how gut-wrenching and how emotional that child actor was completely floored me. And I was captivated. I was 100% captivated by the meaning of friendship in this film, what this kid and what this being were willing to do to sacrifice for each other out of love of friendship. So, and they had it doesn't take, crazy communication. They didn't have to have long heart to hearts. It just took a matter of true caring and true friendship. So that's my number 4. First time I ever cried in the movie theater in 1982, E.T.
Annie, we are sisters to the core. Chris McPeak's number 4, 1982's E.T.
Oh,
for all of the reasons that you just said. Now, it was not the first movie in a movie theater I ever cried at, although I really don't know that I could tell you emphatically what that was. However, everything that you just said resonates with me. And I think, so when E.T. dies and Elliot's talking to him, and then the heart light starts to come back, and he opens up the thing. So they're coming. Yeah. And the squeal. And it's like, oh my God.
Yes.
So that's amazing and beautiful. But then of course I'll be right here, and the light on the finger and the nose, and that is a waterworks completely. But yeah, I mean, I think the relationship between, it's even friendship, a boy, I don't want to say pet, like the same way you communicate with a dog or a cat or anything like that, but it's, you have a connection with a being that's not entirely human or the same. Yeah. And yet there's also the relationship that Elliot has with his family, with his little sister, with his big brother. He's a classic middle child. There's all kinds of things with being a middle child. And if memory serves, there's no dad, so single mom household, and the fear of the unknown that we have, where now Peter Coyote is going to come in and they're going to take him away and all of that crap. But just the triumph of love over science in some cases, that's kind of cool. So anyway, yes, my sister, we are sisters to the core.
Yes. Okay. So my number 3 is True Love, and it's the love of a mother. It's the 2007 movie Waitress.
Oh, yeah.
So, in the beginning, what's the actress's name? I'm drawing a blank.
That is Carrie. Shoot. What the hell is her name? It's the Felicity girl. Oh, Carrie Russell?
Yes. Carrie Russell, yes.
Okay.
Carrie Russell. Aeri Russell. So she's in a horrible marriage with Earl, who's just an absolute dick, just a dickhead, and finds out she's pregnant, and she is pissed off, and she hates this baby that's growing inside of her, and she ends up having this, wild affair with her OB doctor, and
that's Nathan.
She is saying, "You damn baby, I don't want you, you damn baby," but the moment they lay that little girl in her arms, I'm weeping like catharsis, because I know that feeling so well. And I can watch that scene over and over again, because the moment she has that baby and looks that baby in the eyes, and she looks at Earl and I'm not going to tell you what happens, because if you haven't seen it, you got to watch it. But that is my weeping like a baby, because I know that feeling of, this is my child. I did this. This is my life now. And this is what true love of a mother is. So that's my number 3, A Waitress, 2007. I love it so much.
That's beautiful. I need to see that again. I only saw it once in theater, and I know we were talking about doing the musical at some point. Yeah, I got to put that on my list, but I will for sure rewatch Waitress, because I do remember really, really enjoying that a lot. Did Sarah Bareilles write the music for the musical?
She did. Yeah. So
Okay.
next like when we finally make our New York trip, we'll do like 6 Broadway shows, and that'll be one of them.
Oh my gosh. It's so exciting. Okay. So I actually love the way that you're framing this with the whole weaving love into the mix. So my number 3 is the unrequited love that is also the forbidden love. And it is 2005's Brokeback Mountain.
Oh.
And really, for me, it doesn't come until there's two parts. When you learn that Jake Gyllenhaal's Jack has been killed, that is very hard. But the very, very end of the movie, when Enos goes to the house and he takes the shirt and he takes it back to his trailer and hangs it up, and he goes to it at the end of the film and he holds it to him and he smells it and he says something to the tune of, "Jack, I swear." And it's just, I mean, I'm going to lose it now thinking about it. It's so amazing. And that film was so perfectly cast. The way that the two of them get together and fall in love, in a sense that it's a friendship first, but Jack's character is clearly in a place where Enos is not ready to be yet, although the love between the two of them is undeniable, and how that impacts the two women in their life too. And to know, Heath Ledger and Michelle Williams got together on that film, so there was the backstory with the two of them. But yeah, I mean, that is hard movie to watch at times, but still, it's a very beautiful love story. And the closing part of that movie is where, I lose it every time. And so there you have it. That's my number 3.
I need to see that one again, because also you have the added layer of crying because of the loss of Heath Ledger, right? So
that's very true.
And the amount of times he played this, tortured, person on screen, and it's so true of so many of our lost loves of Hollywood. So it makes it that much harder and that much more of a tearjerker, because that's those performances are limited.
Heath Ledger was on his way to becoming one of the great contemporary.
Oh yes.
I mean, he's Australian, but one of the great contemporary actors of our time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because he could do it all.
Yes. Okay. My number 2 is the theme is true love and sacrifice.
Ooh.
I love this movie. And I think Emily would probably put this as her number 1, but it's the 2016 Me Before You, Emilia Clarke and Sam Claflin.
Yeah.
I'm in love with him. I can't stop watching him on screen. But she goes into this job to be the caretaker for a quadriplegic, and Emilia Clarke by herself is just the most beautiful human being. I love her on screen and off screen. But they start with just like I don't know, it's not adversarial, but he's an asshole because he hates us. He wants to die, and unbeknownst to her, his mother had hired her to try to help convince him to stay alive because he wanted to end his life. But so knowing this, she continues to be caretaker, and they fall in love, and there is an absolute love. But so she's kind of sacrificed everything and she's willing to sacrifice everything about her livelihood because this is the man she wants to be with. But he's willing to sacrifice, his life, but also he doesn't want her to sacrifice that for him. He wants her to have the full life.
Yeah.
He wants her to have babies and love and the travel and all the extraordinary things that come with a relationship that's not with a quadriplegic.
That he can't give her. Yeah. Yeah.
Can't give her. So the sacrifice but my favorite part of this movie is her birthday party, and at the time, her idiot boyfriend gives her a stupid charm necklace and I can't remember the character's name, but Sam Claflin's character knew her enough and listened to her and loved her that he gave her the thing that was most precious to her, which was the bumblebee tights.
The bumblebee tights.
I will forever actually have the sticker of every woman deserves the bumblebee tights, the thing that we love the most in this world. And that's
so cool.
So like, that's my like true love of sacrifice and of what you'd be willing to do for somebody that you love so much, what you'd be willing to give up on both sides of the fence. And I'm not going to tell you how the movie ends, but I cry like a baby, basically the beginning of it, because I love him so, so very much. Cool. So that's to Me Before You, 2016.
I still have not seen that. I need to correct that pronto.
Yes.
Yes. So yeah. Is it on Netflix?
I don't know, but I will.
You probably own it.
Because I bought it so I can watch it over and over again.
Of course you did.
Yeah.
Okay. My number 2 is true love in friendship and the connection that we feel with that one teacher that changed everything for us. And that is 1988's Dead Poets Society.
I love it. I already used that one. I couldn't use it again.
Yes. So, and you actually gave me the idea for that because we'd had the conversation previously about, okay, what are those scenes that you immediately know that you are going to cry. So just be prepared to do that. But yeah, when Neil takes his life and Todd has his freak out, and then the very, very end with "Oh Captain, My Captain" is, that is just, that is probably the coolest tribute to a teacher that you could muster. And I mean, everything about that movie is really special. And I wish, we all should have a Mr. Keating in our lives, and more teachers, God damn it, should want to be like Mr. Keating. And there's so many things wrong with the educational system in this country, particularly in California. I'm not going to get political, even though it is the day before the election. But I think about some of the women that I went to college with who chose education as careers, mainly because they wanted an easy major that could still get them a degree while they were very actively pursuing their MRS degree. And it always infuriated me that those people were going to be in our schools and teaching kids for the time being and not really have their heart in it. So I think, love of career, even, the love of teaching, the love of a classroom, the love of seeing a student's face light up when they figure something out. The barbaric whoop, that scene is really powerful.
From the rooftops.
Yeah. Yes. And the kicking scene with the soccer ball. I mean, all of these things. It's unconventional, but it's the stuff that makes you connect with that teacher forever. And there should be more of that in this world, and particularly here in the States. So anyway, politics aside, that's my number 2 is Dead Poets Society.
And it also, for the English major and the creative writing major, it is absolutely a love story about love of the written word.
Yeah, totally.
High school kids, I have 2 of them, coming home saying, "Oh, Mom, we read this great poem in class today." So like, but love of not necessarily just poetry, but the written word itself and what it does to inspire and motivate and make you fall in love and make you feel things, which is critical. And that's why I'm so glad that right now Emily's reading One Flew the Cuckoo's Nest, and that is her
wonderful.
Her like and So talk about just things that inspire you that but also make you emotional enough that you will cry. Yeah. So
every time.
So my honorable mention is it's a comedy, but it has the one scene that will make me cry every time, and I can watch it over and over again. So my honorable mention is The 4 Weddings and a Funeral.
Oh, okay.
Cry like a baby is the funeral scene because it's a true love between between a man that has had an absolute companion who had such a love of life. And it was his, it was his love of life that killed him inevitably, but just this like, loud, boisterous. So it was absolutely moving when he gives his eulogy. And I cry like a baby every time. But then also at the end, when they finally figure it out and they do the kind of the closing scene of all these like unconventional ways of the people make connections, and the love that comes in all shapes and sizes and forms. And yeah, so that's my honorable mention, For Weddings and Funeral from 1994.
My honorable mention is not a tie. It's more like a compare and contrast connection. And that is, of course, the Julia Roberts vehicle experience of Steel Magnolias and Stepmom. Steel Magnolias, still very early in her career. A great movie about, relationships in the South and relationships among women. And she plays Shelby, and the colors are not pink. They are blush and bashful. But that there is a sadness there, but there is hope as well, because someone does pass and it is devastating, but the women that are around Sally Field's character that help lift her up. Yeah. And that's always been I thought really beautiful. And Stepmom is a movie I've only seen a couple times, but I remember I remember how I felt watching it and seeing these two women, Susan Sarandon and Julia Roberts. And I want to say Ed Harris was
Yes, he was
in this movie. But the dynamic between the two of them and how that eventually became all right, as Susan Sarandon is acquiescing to some kind of cancer. But I mean, I can watch them again and again because there's comedy aspects in that too. But I think just, the mother and daughter relationships and dynamics in these two movies, and just what it's like to have girlfriends is really special.
Okay.
All right.
I will. I'll revisit that in a future episode.
Okay. That sounds delightful.
Okay. So my number one, and it's become the joke in the household of what mommy's not allowed to watch, right? Because when I do Blubbering Baby for like 3 hours. That you and I saw in the theater together, but Elvis 2020 blubber like a baby. And then after I watch the movie, I have to watch Elvis videos for another hour and keep crying like a baby. So pretty much if you put Elvis on the screen in this household, I just start crying. So it's the true love. And that's basically a love that's lost. So lost love, because not only the loss of Priscilla, but the love that Elvis had of performing and of singing and being, who Elvis was in the early days was completely stolen from him. And you see that as the movie plays out of what, the tragedy of the entire story. And I fall apart. I absolutely fall apart. And it's like the sad song that I can listen to over and over and over again. And just cry and cry and cry. And I'll go to bed and I'll wake up the next morning with a swollen face and about it. So I haven't figured out how to be able to watch it without crying. But I get it. It gets me that much. So if you haven't seen it, I'm making this proclamation: if Austin Butler is not at least nominated for Best Actor for the movie Elvis, I will never watch the Academy Awards again. Ever.
Well, I'm with you 100% on that. When it came on HBO, I thought, I should watch this again because this movie was so well done. And I couldn't bring myself to watch it again, probably because, I watched that with my sister and it was a really great experience. And I don't think I want to watch again by myself because I'm not with my sister. Like that would have made me cry. But I echo all of your sentiments about how that movie was brought to life. It's very good. And and it should get Austin Butler a nomination. And I likely may not watch the Oscars ever again anyway, because I'm just pissed off with the way that they're some of the stuff they're doing, it's a little cray-cray, but beside the point. We've had that conversation already. I'm pushing for Tom Cruise to get an Oscar for Maverick in the same vein that, Paul Newman got an Oscar for reprising the role but yeah, anyway, that's another story for another day. Okay. Elvis was a great movie. And if you haven't seen it, people, you should watch it, especially if you fancy yourself any kind of music lover at all, any kind of lover of entertainment. This movie is a Valentine to that for sure.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's see. How do I want to put this? I guess my number one is true love that cannot last. So it is better to say it is better to have loved and lost than to never have loved at all. But the love that inspires somebody to write something incredible and put it out into the world. Anyway, this is 1998's Shakespeare in Love. I saw this movie in the theater 4 times. That is a record for me. I have not seen any other film in the theater as many times as I've seen Shakespeare in Love. The music, the score that surrounds it, the kind of goofy awkwardness of Joseph Fiennes as Will Shakespeare. He's never William. He's only Will in this movie.
Yeah.
And then you have Viola and Gwyneth, who wants to do nothing more but act and, dresses up as Sir Thomas, and it just flows from there. But for me, I get super sad when they're about to go into the, performing of the play, and there's no Juliet because funny little Ned has lost his voice, and Jeffrey Rush runs into the crowd and asks her to come play it. And do you know it? And she says every word. And then she gets to play the role that she wasn't going to originally play, and Will goes in and plays that part, and it's amazing. And Romeo and Juliet is not, the happiest story in the first place, but in that vein, it was really like the build up to the two of them getting to play opposite each other, and then for Viola to then just leave so she can go marry Ben Affleck, or no, Colin Firth in the New World, and the little bit of humor at the end from Judi Dench and her Oscar-winning turn, something a little lighter for 12th Night or something like that. So yeah, I love the build up to the two of them being in the play together, and then and she's gonna leave him, and somehow we know Will be okay, but it's a happy sad. There's some fantastic crazy humor in this film. Rupert Graves,
Tom Stoppard.
Yes, yeah. And so you've got Judi Dench, you've got Jeffrey Rush, you've got Rupert Everett, you have Ben Affleck in there. Like, Ben, what are you doing in this movie? But it's okay. I will play him.
When Judi Dench says something like towards the end, and she's talking about, I know what it's like for the struggle of women, essentially, but she just like, for women, you're just like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
I love it so much right now.
Yeah. It's great. She is only on screen for like 6 minutes.
Yeah. And
it does not seem like that. It seems like her presence there is so much longer because it's such a powerful performance. But anyway, I love that movie. It's delightful, and yeah. So I will watch it again and again.
I can watch it. Yeah, it's probably in my top 20 favorite movies of all time.
Ooh, yes. Well, the score is amazing, and the score adds so much to that film.
Yeah. Well, so you were the one that introduced me to Tom Stoppard because you gave me the book Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead that you had to read in college.
I did.
Your copy of it, which was also a movie with Gary Oldman and Tim Roth. But he writes, his writing is the most clever of any other screenwriter or novelist ever.
Wow.
It's so clever. But understanding like humor that is relevant to the period also. So not only do I love it because Gwyneth Paltrow is just like, I bow down before her because she is just magnificent.
Yeah.
But you're not going to find a better written movie of that, like period, quite frankly.
I completely agree. I did not realize that I gave you my copy of that novel.
Yep.
That was my favorite English class I ever took in the history of my life. It was honors English. It was the second semester. It was the first semester. Second semester. Well, we had to read 2 books with similar storylines that play off each other and tell different sides of the story. So we read Beowulf and Grendel, and now you're going to go right. We read Hamlet and Rosencrantz and Guildenstern again, and now you're going to go write your essay. I took that class more than 30 years ago, and it was awesome.
I want to take that class.
But I should probably now see the movie because you have raved about Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead. And what's not to love about a Gary Oldman, Tim Roth vehicle? I think, lots to love. For sure.
Yep.
Let us recap, fine sister of mine.
So I went Forrest Gump, E.T., Waitress, Me Before You. My honorable mention was Four Weddings and a Funeral, and my number 1 was the 2022 magnificent Austin Butler performance and Tom Hanks in the movie Elvis.
And I've got at my honorable mention the power duo of Steel Magnolias and Stepmom, and then at number 5, Love Actually. Number 4, E.T., because great sisters think alike. And number 3, Brokeback Mountain. Number 2, Dead Poets Society. And my number 1 is the Academy Award-winning Shakespeare in Love.
I love it.
And that will end today's episode of the Top 5 podcast, for which we have been talking about tearjerkers that do feed our souls. And in some way, shape, or form, reflect the theme of true love. And thank you for adding that, Annie, because I thought that was a really nice touch to the discussion.
Thank you. So if you haven't seen any of those movies, go get the 6-pack of beer and a box of tissues and enjoy. Yeah,
absolutely. And we will be back shortly. I don't know when we'll air this episode, but we're going to do a counterpoint to this episode with the tearjerkers that we will absolutely never watch again because they pissed us the hell off and destroyed our lives almost permanently. So to be continued on that, my friends.
Absolutely.
Alrighty. So for Annie, I'm Chris. This is the Top 5 podcast. We love and appreciate you, and we will catch up with you in the next episode.
Mwah. Love you.
Love you.